I'll be honest with you, it's not the kind of programme I'd want to watch, to tell you the truth, because it would rile me.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at the One Show's most contentious moments. Yes, this arguably wholesome show has made a lot of blunders over the years.
I would take them outside and execute them in front of their family.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 10. Jermaine Jenas.
In a short statement, all a spokesperson said was, "We can confirm that he is no longer part of our presenting lineup."
After years fronting the One Show, Jermaine Jenas found himself sacked live on air. While presenting Talk Sport, the news broke that the pundit and ex-footballer had been dropped by the BBC. It came following allegations of misconduct from female colleagues. They said that Jenas had sent them inappropriate text messages and complained to the BBC.
I can't really talk about it.
He was immediately dropped, and Alex Jones spent the week presenting alone, with the show barely acknowledging that he was gone. The following week, an episode was actually pulled from airing. Jenas has only said that his lawyers are handling it, and it'll be a while before we know all the details of what went on.
But currently, as it stands, I'm going to have to let the lawyers deal with it. You know, there's two sides to every story.
Number 9. Rita Ora.
Now, gentlemen, you, of course, have all done this before, but what threats does Rita hold that you are a little bit concerned about?
In 2015, Rita Ora had just joined the judging panel on The Voice and appeared with her fellow judges on The One Show to promote it. But viewers were very hung up on what Ora was wearing, with some thinking that her outfit was inappropriate for a Tea Time magazine show, as it showed off her cleavage. Hundreds of people ended up complaining to the BBC about this, with people online insisting that while they weren't prudes, they found it, quote, distasteful and inappropriate.
So how are you going to ensure, Rita, that you nail it this year?
Well, I hope there's a way of ensuring that anyone could ever win The Voice, but there isn't.
Looking back, it was clearly a lot of fuss over nothing, with the Beeb's statement saying it was hardly surprising for an international pop star to wear a racy outfit, even if it was pre-Watershed.
It's exciting because they still get the freedom to express themselves, and it's just about the voice, really. And
Number 8. Dan Stevens.
Now, a new series tells the unknown story of the woman who blew the whistle, played by Julia Roberts, and also stars our lovely Dan here.
Who knew that the tragic former heir to Downton could be so controversial? This appearance was from 2022, as Stevens was promoting his latest miniseries, Gaslit, which dramatised much of the Watergate scandal.
Well, what you've got is a criminal for a leader who is wrapped in a messy war, embroiled in a stupid scandal and surrounded by ambitious idiots.
But as soon as he was asked about it, he turned things around to be a joke at the expense of Boris Johnson, as this was when a different scandal, Partygate, was ongoing.
And really should resign. And, no, I'm sorry, that's the intro to Boris Johnson. I've just said the intro to Boris Johnson, I'm so sorry.
The atmosphere in the studio got extremely tense, with everybody aware that Stevens had just caused The One Show to break its impartiality guidelines. The show was hit with complaints, and the BBC had to release a statement. Number 7. Jimmy Carr.
Stop laughing.
No, that's how most people travel, Rod. I think that's how most people in this day and age will bring a spare room for the model train set. You're such a rock star.
Did The One Show's producers know who Jimmy Carr was when they booked him to appear back in 2015? We're sure they did, and yet people were still surprised when he told a string of highly offensive jokes, the very thing he's known for.
I tried to write the shortest joke possible, so I wrote a 2-word joke which was dwarf shortage. Just so I could pack more jokes into the show.
He was on alongside Rod Stewart, talking about their showbiz careers and how they'd known each other for years, but Carr couldn't resist dropping in a few of his trademark one-liners when invited to do so.
I don't know, I'm just trying to think of my favourite all-time joke that might work on this show.
Without swearing.
Though very few people complained, Ofcom still ended up investigating Carr, and for once found that somebody had broken broadcasting rules. The BBC subsequently cracked down on offensive language. Number 6. Rosie Jones.
It's time now to welcome one of our favourite comedians. It's the brilliantly funny Rosie Jones. Welcome to the show!
This was a controversy about a controversy back in 2023. At the time, disabled comedian Rosie Jones was promoting her documentary, which infamously used the R slur in the title. There was a big debate around reclamation and whether it should be used, but when Jones appeared on The One Show, though she was there for the documentary, even she declined to name it on the BBC, as did the presenters.
This programme has a very shocking word in it, the R word.
She did explain why she'd chosen the title, despite all the backlash she got, largely from others in the disabled community, saying that she wanted to use a provocative title to force people to rethink their use of the word in the first place.
I read people saying that I should be in a cage.
Number 5. Paul O'Grady.
He knows nothing about it. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and it annoys me that he's up there spouting about this.
One of the most contentious shows ever aired in Britain, Benefit Street had everybody talking back in 2014. One of its staunchest critics was comedian Paul O'Grady, who was brought on to give a voice to the people who spoke against the show, said to make extreme poverty into entertainment.
And I think these people are sacrificial lambs on the altar of light entertainment, and that they've gone willingly, you know, with a smart tongue has got them to say all sorts.
Yeah. Coming from a working class background himself, it's no surprise that O'Grady saw through the exploitation of Benefit Street, and he went on to argue in favour of various policies like raising minimum wage while attacking Tory MPs.
So how would you kind of
Well, I know Ian
reform
Duncan
the benefits?
Smith, he wants to reduce it, doesn't he?
Yeah, from 26,000.
See, that man would reintroduce the workhouse.
Some members of the public complained to the BBC, though, saying that because O'Grady hadn't been challenged, impartiality had been compromised. O'Grady later claimed to have been permanently banned from The One Show. Number 4. Jordan Shelly.
Last night, our brand new One Show dogman, Jordan, met Roxy, the troublesome rapscallion of a Jack Russell.
While some of The One Show's controversies look a bit silly, this one was anything but. The show hired a new dog expert, Jordan Shelly, to lead what was presumably intended to be a long-running segment where he helps members of the public with their misbehaving dogs.
Move.
But immediately, people took issue with Shelley's training methods. He was filmed being very aggressive with the dogs, even treading on one dog's foot, and it was actually brought up on air by Alex Jones.
Now, some people out there might argue that some of your techniques might have been a little aggressive. What would you say to those people?
Well, I agree with all different techniques of dog training. I mean,
The RSPCA soon got involved, investigating Shelly, and he was dropped. He was condemned by his colleagues too, with the UK's foremost no-nonsense dog trainer, Victoria Stilwell, from It's Me or the Dog, saying that what he did wasn't right.
Well, Roxy was a pretty hard nut to crack, but we got there eventually. And if they need my help, I'll be back.
Number 3. The unnamed presenter. In 2023, the news cycle was set alight by stories that an unnamed BBC presenter was being investigated for receiving explicit messages from someone under the age of 18.
Hugh Edwards was the BBC's highest paid newsreader, fronting first the 6 o'clock news and then the news at 10.
We now know that the presenter in question was Hugh Edwards, who was arrested and pled guilty to similar offences the following year. But with allegations still circulating, The One Show caught some flack by not mentioning the scandal whatsoever.
But Hugh Edwards hasn't been on our screens for a year, following reports in the Sun newspaper claiming he'd paid a young person for explicit images.
This is certainly a bizarre incident, since it's not really the sort of reporting The One Show does, but some people were apparently desperate for Jermaine, Jenas and Alex Jones to give a statement about what was happening elsewhere at the Beeb.
We've had a statement within the last few minutes from Vicky Flynn, who is the wife of Hugh Edwards, who named him as the BBC presenter facing allegations.
Number 2. Carol Thatcher.
Speaking on the Andrew Marr show this morning, Ms Thatcher said she stood by her original remarks.
She was never hired full-time on The One Show, instead frequently appearing as a freelancer and debating the issues of the day. That was until 2009, when a whistleblower on the production revealed that Thatcher had referred to a black tennis player by an offensive slur beginning with G.
I regret the leak, and actually I've had a pile of mail from people I've never met.
But not using the word?
No, because I used in a context which wasn't actually appreciated at the time.
She was immediately dropped, but this wasn't a case of he said, she said. Thatcher didn't deny that she'd said it at all, and in fact went on the Andrew Marr show in the following days to double down, saying that she stood by it and refused to apologise, even though they'd have let her back onto the show had she done so.
Do you not think it's a bit impolite, though, as a word these days?
I think it has changed since it was merely on the jam jars.
Yes, so it has, and that's why it's not on the jam jars, because we've moved on.
Number 1, Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah, a guest with balanced, uncontroversial opinions who makes great efforts not to offend.
And we've got Jeremy Clarkson.
Much like Jimmy Carr, getting Clarkson on any show is sure to earn the respect of some viewers and the ire of others.
London today has just been empty. Everybody stayed at home, you could whiz about, restaurants were empty.
This time, Clarkson was asked for his view on public sector strikers and said a deeply inflammatory thing. But he made a joke out of it, saying the exact opposite thing too, for balance.
We have to balance it though, don't we? Because this is the BBC. And
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Frankly, I'd have them all shot.
Anybody who saw the full clip realised the joke he was making, and yet it was still immediately followed up by an on-air condemnation from Matt Baker, much to Clarkson's annoyance. Whatever his intention though, thousands of complaints were made. It seems that Baker's apology just wasn't good enough, because the show was made to apologise a second time.
Yeah. Well, on that note of balancing an opinion, of course, those are Jeremy's views.
Only Jeremy's
Just
views.
given 2 views for you.
Let us know in the comments who your favourite one-show presenter is.
Actually, a little bit less difficult than I thought. The problem's not normally the dog, it's normally the owner.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.